All right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy, your uncle, your brother, right? Your friend, a teacher, a scholar. The word scholar don't mean nothing more than a student. We got to stop making that word so spooky. I'm a student out here, y'all. And what I learned, we gonna share with the family. Family, welcome in and welcome back, right? We've been gone for a minute. Welcome in us who are almost the 1100 plus strong. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we start. We're gonna have to get real about this, right? We're gonna have to get real about what life is, y'all. The illusion that's been put in place, man, is coming tumbling down because people are very proud. Welcome in, or very haughty, I should say, very vain, right? Because that's what when they put that word pride in there, that's really what it means when you see it. When you see it read, that's what it's talking about, right? Welcome in us who are the almost 1100 plus strong, who listen to, who love. This is the month of love, right? For those who feel that certain things should not be loved on this month. Yes, yes. Lord, help me say a thing today. Family, welcome in us who are the 1100 plus strong, who love, who believe in, who search for, seek after, hunger and thirst for that which is a different view. Family, welcome in today. Today's topic simply said, do we want? Man, I've been stewing on this for a minute, y'all. We had to bring back the notes. Again, your boy was away for a minute because we had vacation, right? We had vacation time. We had to take time away. Me and my wife, we had to take time away, recharge, be around friends and family, right? Ladies and gentlemen, in your life, just to hop off the last conversation we had about a week or so ago, you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, you must come away. This idea that is presented in the Bible, we have already said, unapologetically Christian, right? And apologetically Christian, right? Because we've talked about the subject of apologetics, which many Christians have an issue with because they don't want to look into the window or the mirror. You're okay looking in that window of the woman committing adultery. You're okay looking at sex, talking that mess about pornography. What do you think those men were doing? Anyway, that's why Jesus could say him without sin, because them men was catching a view they shouldn't have been, right? Never mind. The holy men, by the way, right? Yeah, never mind. We on one today, y'all. Because again, it's an illusion of holiness, denying the power thereof, right? Something that the church, unfortunately, Christians have been very good at for hundreds of years, caping for massa. We got to say it the way it is, right? Not the only belief on the planet that has acted that way, unfortunately, but this is the one we're talking about, right? This is the one I'm part of. This is the one we're talking about. Again, doing apologetics as I have done. There are others, but we're talking about this one right now, right? Do we want peace or war, ladies and gentlemen? Which one do we want? Let's look at the word peace here for a second. We're not going to take too long today. We all got things to do today, right? Family, we all got things to do today. So we're just gonna take some time. We ain't even going in the Bible verse really too much, because many of these things again are in life. All you got to do is open up your eyes and look. But we too busy, stuck doing somebody else's thing, that we don't take the time to come and look at the thing that we have been made to do, right? Like we said on this podcast, it's going to get a little, as we go along here, it's going to get a little more and more and more. Because there is a side here that certain people want to look at. They're okay being there. Again, you got good bought and house Negroes out there. We watched the Grammys last night. I looked into a little bit of it. We didn't go too hard, Again, it was kind of cool to see The Weeknd come back after talking about boycotting the. See, we got to get real. You know, this is the really cool thing while we're in Black History Month, by the way, right? Let's play this video just for a second to show the mentality of what's going on with people. You need to know. You need to know, family. See, this idea where you keep it away from people, there is a time where you must know. You must know, and it must be said. Let me just give me a moment here while we get it queued up. And then we are going to go in. Give me 1 second here.
What does that mean to you, Black History Month?
It means that that's racism, because they don't celebrate White History Month. We don't have it. I'm part Italian. I don't have Italian History Month. So what I think it's doing is perpetuating what this divide is in our nation, quite honestly, because I don't feel like that should be highlighted. I don't think that they should be pushing their agenda on myself because I'm a straight male, I have a wife, and I have children. I don't think that I should have to be bombarded and brainwashed through media, through those months or Pride, Black History. I don't think that's something that should be, dictated to me.
Is it a learning opportunity?
Not at all, because when I was in school, we learned that, certain Black leaders, things like that. I don't need to hear it every single year for a whole month.
And we're back. Shout out to Every Day is Juneteenth on Instagram for providing the video from which I found and just shared here with the family. The word agenda. Let me write that down for a second. I had posted something on my Facebook page. The words agenda and propaganda. God help us, man. You see, you study masses language. Then we really don't go deep and understand masses language. You speak in masses. You speak in your captor's language. I know we don't like looking at it that way. They taught us not to look at it that way. Many times you have a dislike for something that you was taught not to like. Kind of like the Black Doll experiment, right? We in Black History Month, y'all. There is a certain people group down here with the rest of people that has been berated, barraged, and damaged. That needs a long time to sit in a therapy chair to get over hate of the white man and woman, right? Although they act like a fool. Clearly, when you watch this video here, again, from Every Day is Juneteenth, shout out, right? This was taken April 6, 2024, y'all. Not that long ago, right? While we like to do that duck and dodge about how it was so long ago. Speaking of how long ago it was, did y'all know the literacy rate in the Middle Ages, right? We're talking European folk. The so-called white man was at 20%. Now we talking the Middle Ages, like AD, right? So 600 AD, right? As the beginning of it, from what historians look at, all the way up to the 1400s. Y'all know what was going on in the 1400s, right? Again, for one part of Europe, they actually stopped they stopped the Middle Ages right around 1492. Do we all know what happened around the 1500s? Do we know, ladies and gentlemen? What was going on in the mind? For people to come back and tell me there was no slavery going on in the planet? There was no slavery going on in the times of the Bible where you read certain verses talking about slaves and stuff? Y'all gonna come back at me and tell me it's about indentured servitude? We gonna play this game? We still playing this game. Folks still talking this mess about the healing in the faith movement, still talking this mess about the prosperity message. Man, we still doing this? This is a long time now. To show you how strong deception can be, this is a long time now. Blessed to be a blessing. End of discussion. Again, when you talk about things like, so we got to break it down a little bit. You want to talk about how people are throwing their checks on the offering plate. You want to talk about how people are taking money, like how the church got a lot of money. Catholic Church got a lot of money. I'm done on this idea, y'all. Listen, do you know who had the higher literacy rate in the Middle Ages? We're talking around white folk now. It was the clergymen. Shocker. I guess the only thing they could preach is that God saves, right? They couldn't preach the ability to read, right? You got abilities, ladies, gifts with power. Look at the definition of the word. Given to you by the maker. When we talk on certain things about February, I'm not going to get into February today. That's going to be a separate subject. One of them deals with health, self-checking yourself. Who does that, ladies and gentlemen? Who's to check yourself? For the women, as far as breast cancer is concerned and stuff like that, that'd be you, right? In the shower, you're supposed to do the circle thing around your chest area and all that, right? Again, men have prostate cancer issues. We've gone over that on the different months and highlights that this nation does, which is actually a very good thing. Who does that, y'all? The men's supposed to be checking themselves, right? You're supposed to be checking your genitalia areas, right? Check your testes, fellas, right? I know we got problems. Again, you've been given stuff from massa, not the maker, not the master, right? Who else does it, y'all? The doctor. See, this is why it's important. You talk about all these reforms that's going on right now. You want to get rid of black folks on it. You want to get rid of the dark and tan skin tone folks in any way possible so that you can reintroduce white people into the place of power. We understand what it is, y'all. See, we can continue down the road, y'all, of doing whatever, or we can make the necessary changes, right? This is for folks who talk about change. We're just presenting, we're just talking, y'all, right? The doctor is another one. Lest we forget, not written in the 66 agreed books, but in Ecclesiasticus 38. Not Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiasticus. I believe it's also called Sirach in the Apocrypha. Unfortunate that Christians can't agree upon things, right? But we one body, though. We're supposed to speak in one accord, though, right? Yeah, I know. Physicians and illness. Ecclesiasticus 38:1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him for the Lord. Yeah. Touch your neighbor one time, say the Lord has created the doctor that you might go and find health. I'm trying to figure, folks are not using their good, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that it comes back to when I look at things, y'all, is, and again, right, the opinion of the content creator. Shout out to Spotify for creators. We're going to switch it up now since they've switched up from podcasters to creators. Shout out to Spotify for creators for putting on a platform where your boy can teach, speak, preach even, right? Reach out to people and tell them a thing that they may be also able to find a different view, right? For the Lord hath created him. This is verse 1, man. Honor a physician. This is why we have to be involved in healthcare reform, because they playing games. Stuff that happened to Michael Jackson, folks supplying people with medicine they shouldn't be, right? I know it's okay to start looking at the thing with the boys and stuff like that. I know, it's easy. They killed that man when he wanted to take over Marvel. And you're sitting there, and we sit there in our piosity, y'all, like, oh, well, all he was going to do is exactly what you see in Disney right now, KJ. Like, it was just going to be about the gays, and it was going to... Yeah, I know. Do people have a place down here? Again, do we want peace or war, y'all? Which one do we want? I know we like doing that holy hokey pokey. I know we do 1 foot in. Well, no, it's not. And we do 1 foot out, but maybe we are good at it. Y'all, we learn how to do it from massa. Again, I recognize that on top of our own, the good and bad in everybody, right? I understand that part of it. Duality. Shout out to our Asian brothers and sisters. The yin and yang. It's a very real thing. We get that. This has gone deeper than that, man. This has gone deeper than that, sis. This has turned into something else. That's just verse 1. I'm not reading the rest of it for time's sake, right? This is what people are thinking. That these things shouldn't be highlighted. These things shouldn't be highlighted. Shows the deception. This brother said he's part Italian, right? There's no Italian History Month. All of history is showing you what the Renaissance, right? The Middle Ages, you got a language that's built off of Rome and Italy. That's Latin, y'all. All the time, Italian history is being shown. How many of y'all know about Kemet? How many of y'all know about the scientific discoveries of the black man and woman? How many of y'all know readily who can speak? See, we can talk about Christopher Columbus real quick, right? We can talk about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. They got statues, bronze statues of this man wanting to ship the Negro back to Africa, where all black or dark skin tone folks that they call black because their skin is close to black, like we have read in these documents that we did a couple episodes ago. You can't even give the proper credit to the groups of people you look at down here. But the month should not be. This is what we're saying now? This is what we've been saying? Which one do we... Okay, let's, because we said we were going to start talking about peace definition before I went there. Freedom from disturbance or tranquility, right? A state or period where there is no war or where war has ended. While we messed around with that Afghan war that had to do with oil acquisition. Just like, I'm sorry, I'm from New York, born and raised there. We understand that our Middle Eastern brothers and sisters did a very horrible act, deadly act that required defense not only for the state of New York, but for the nation. We get that. Not to mention the deadly acts that have gone on by the government in this nation that people keep doing the holy hopscotch over, but that's okay. See, when Jesus is talking to the holy people who tried to tempt him, let's go there for a minute, man, because see, again, folks are not picking up on the play. We got the Super Bowl coming up, right? A replay of a couple of years ago. Shout out to Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, couple brothers putting on a show. Some light-skinned, dark-skinned brothers putting on a show, right? I know if people got a problem with it. You're going to have a problem listening to Kendrick Lamar, too. See, again, on the inside of people from what they have been told, not only because of the evil in people, because what they've been told, you now look upon your dark-skinned, tan-skinned brother and sister incorrectly, which is why you need this month and more months like this so that you can relearn a thing. That's the point. Ain't no agenda. There is no propaganda. You need to learn about your people down here. Asian people that were persecuted on these lands, right? Native people persecuted on these lands. They just made an award acclaim winning movie a couple of years ago. Killers of the Flower Moon. Shout out to Lily Gladstone, sister one time, right? And people learn their language to use it against them to take the oil that was in Osage County over by, or in Oklahoma, over by Tulsa, right? Or we just gonna walk past that too, because I don't want to be bombarded with that. Meanwhile, the Negro has to live on the land. Oh no, y'all could leave. We already read to y'all as far as Mexico, since everybody is okay downgrading DEI now and letting ICE run through. It's a shame. The Christians okay protecting sin, not calling it out. Y'all, again, Christ done already said this. This ain't coming from me. You're okay omitting the weightier matters of the law. For all the legalistic folk out there, you omit your weightier matters of it. You're going to have to square away with these things in your own heart and mind. Matthew 19, man. Talking about divorce. We was going to talk about it, right? Again, this is the love month, y'all. So what happens at the point where there is divorce? I got to preface this because of the defenses in the mind normally put there by the man over the woman to be able to use them as sexual conquest. We got to say it, y'all. There's not going to be any healing until we start saying life and death is in the power of your words. Not your actions, although that does happen, right? Not even the thoughts in that verse is not from your mouth. Confession is made unto your salvation, right? Yeah. Yeah, we're just not using we ain't using that good God-given logic. We're not, man. The Pharisees came unto him, tempting him. That's all you need to know right there. The rest of everything they said is a loaded deck. That's what you got today. No different than you heard out this brother's mouth here, talking about Black History Month. It's racism. You don't even know what you're saying. It has nothing to do with the social construct that is to hold down one people group, a game played with people, created by a different people group, played within the groups of people. This is what racism is, y'all. To get to the person so that whatever that people group is, this game created for whatever people group gets quickest to the resources and can hold on to it the longest. The resources, the people, the money, the wealth. This is why we have to start getting involved with family again. It's not an uncool thing. Like Huey Lewis in the News used to say, it's hip to be square. It's hip to have families, y'all. Get back involved in having family life. That's where the power is. That's where the wealth is. That's where it is. Budweiser's a family. Miller Lite, Miller, right? All of that, it's a family. You look at how many, we talked about this with groceries and stuff like that. That's families that own those businesses, y'all. And they're going to pass down that wealth to their kids as they should. That is the law of life set down here. Family, this is what it is. Are we doing that for our kids? I know we're good going to Master's Plantation every day for work. I'm asking the question, are we putting back into our family? We good putting it in that collection plate every Sunday, Wednesday, or whenever they ask for it? Are you taking that money just the same, putting it in a savings account, IRA, whatever it is for your family? All of your family members, are y'all doing it? Provide money for you. See, it's hard to even grasp a hold of what I'm saying because we have listened to massa too long. Same thing with our health. Exercising and such. Different parts of the nation getting hit with snow. Some of them having sunlight. Some of them having rain. When you got that weather, you can get out there and walk and soak in this good earth, that good sun. Come on, somebody. You inside your house, exercise. If you snowed in or rained in your house, exercise in your house. Do some chair squatting Pilates before you sit down and binge watch a couple of shows. Man, I'm just saying what it is. So that we can help the doctors when we go to the doctor's office. They don't have to diagnose us with all this mess that has been put out here by massa to kill you, to remove you off of the equation of you got stuff I want. Because this thing is built off of greed, y'all. That's why you got to get rid of the immigrant after the migrants have already come in this nation. They've already come on these holy lands with the words manifest destiny out of their mouth, passing it down to people, telling them who ain't do nothing and all that kind of stuff. When people were walking on these lands knew that we keep talking about is so wrong, and they just was doing it because it come natural. You know what don't come natural? Where you transpose yourself off to someone else. There is enough square miles of land down here, y'all, we can live in peace. So, what does war mean? And again, heed the words of our mamas and our grandmamas. that told us sometimes you got to love somebody from across the street, y'all. That don't mean you're hurting nobody. That don't mean you're shooting them down with the gun every day. See, this thing works around the so-called white man the same way it do around the so-called black man. Shout out to the town, city of Chicago one time, right? 400 some odd deaths toward the end of the year from gun violence. You want to blame that one on the white man too? See, again, we're talking across the board. You can't talk about Catholic is universal and we ain't talking about this across the board. It's wrong on both sides, y'all. That's the point. We keep playing this who doing who. No. Everybody doing somebody. That's the problem. Do we want freedom from disturbance? Now, when you go further into the word, and I know I was supposed to, let me pull this up while we look up Matthew 19 and finish off this thought here. Tempting him. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause? They say for every meaning for any cause. Here's the measuring stick. Again, this is the way that the Jews looked at this kind of thing. But they're also twisting it a little bit because they know there's something behind the law of Moses that he smashed down in anger, that he got from the Maker, because the Israelite, the Middle Easterner, right? Again, when we look at certain things, very possible. I must just say it that way, just to leave, again, leaving all the cards on the table, very possible they were dark-skinned people. Dark to tan-skinned people, right? They wanted to go back to Massa. What a sick thought process in your mind. What you talk about wild imaginations. You want to go, you think it is better going back to Massa? Would to God is what they said, man. Hold on while we just talking a minute, y'all. Oh man. This is just what you can look at your phone, man. Yeah. Oh, wow. This is amazing. So let's see here. Yeah. And then you're going to pull God into it. Yeah. Exodus 16, man. Lord, help us. Help us to grasp a hold of real, serious truth out here, man. Because this is... Oh, wow. Now, you're in the middle of some trial and tribulation, caused of your own. And part of this is just them leaving the journey. And they took verse 1, and they took the journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin. Interesting that the word sin here, we're missing it, y'all. Which is between Elim and Sinai on the 15th day of the second month after their departing from the land of Egypt. Okay, so that this is we just at the beginning of this thing. Right? Kind of like how toward the end in the New Testament, when Jesus is talking about the end times, the stuff that you see, like all the stuff that you see now is the beginning of the end times. But we'll leave that alone, right? We've talked about that in a different episode. Again, I suggest y'all look through the different episodes, glean some truth here. Everything that you're going to hear from me is not all for you, right? But some of it might be. So on and so forth to each person of the family that listens to this podcast. It's time we get real and drop the facade, ladies and gentlemen, right? I provide a piece of the puzzle, another person may provide another piece of the puzzle, so on and so forth. This idea where we keep fighting between each other of who is all right. No one has all the knowledge, so how could one all be right? I couldn't be, no one could be. This is why you figure out your salvation, your life, with fear and trembling, y'all. There's a level of respect here. What another person is going to learn, someone else will learn something different. It's a woven tapestry, right? Coming together to show something beautiful. Verse 2, and the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. They just got through their lives being saved from Massa trying to kill them. See, not wanting to let them go, but not wanting to let them go to use them to kill them. So they just showed them when they left, they just showed them what the end result was going to be because they want you dead. Never mind, right? Verse 3, and the children of Israel said, again, we're in the 15th day of the second month after their departing from Massa. And this is bad, man. And the children of Israel said unto them, would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord. Don't you bring God into this mess. Stop lying on daddy. Because you got comfortable around Massa. You don't sit there and now say that the black man and woman who wants to learn about themselves, their life down here that was robbed from them, they couldn't read. When we're talking about the documents and stuff that we saw there, right, in the 1500s, while they're saying the Bravo was the natural boundary between Mexico that everybody is so geared up on. Oh, let me, I forgot to do it. Family. I forgot to put off the vibration. Whoops, sorry. The Bravo, the Rio Grande, they admitted was the natural boundary. The natural boundary between Mexico, right? The Texas area that they took from the dark-skinned person, the Moor, as they said it, and their Indian associates. That they should have stayed on either side, because if you cross, there's going to be a lot of violence. Of course there is, because the person that already took the stuff don't want you there. The problem is if you're going to send them back to Mexico, readjust the whole thing that you took here from California all the way down. Just look at one of them old school maps and look and see what Mexico actually was. So that you want to send them back, do that. No, but y'all ain't about that. See, see, folks, family, I'm sorry. Folks are not about that kind of thing. They want war. So let's look at, again, would to God that we had died in the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by flesh pots, when we did eat bread to the full. See, you think Massa's giving you something. You love Massa because they give you nothing. The real people in your life that are giving you something, you don't want that. You want these gangbangers, there's another way it's said. We'll say these, again, they say flesh pots. We'll just say sex boys, right? That are just after, I'm not saying sex isn't used for pleasure. We're talking about where you go way out of balance. There's a difference, okay? For you brought us forth into the wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. Interesting how you just flip the truth of a thing. We're talking about getting away from Massa. Whatever you got to go through to get away from Massa. See, this is the same thing that happens in a relationship where you got domestic violence going on. Shout out to people. We already talked about this with Oklahoma being the high ones. A lot of these prairie states, these open middle states in the country here, stricken with this mess. And don't get me wrong, it goes on. We're just talking about the study of it from what they have studied. The middle of the country is where a lot of this mess goes on. Okay. You think it's okay to beat that woman. You think it's okay to beat that woman down to dust. Y'all hear me very good. Time to stand up against that. You want to define what's boy or girl? We don't know the half yet. You don't know the half yet. Folks are okay staying stuck to Massa. Y'all believe that. Believe that. Jumping back to Matthew 19 now. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife? This is a tempting question, by the way. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause? And he answered and said unto them, have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male or female? Understand here, when we read this, see, again, Jesus is going to end it off by saying a thing which is allowed for something to happen. Still, though, we should be using it with caution, right? So this is talking about the half and half of people here, because again, right, divorce is about 50%. Doesn't matter who it is, it's about 50%. Although you start to look down, and as you look at the numbers a little bit clearer, you can see that black women real low on getting married, right? I believe the last I checked was like 70-something%. Just like the impregnating of the black woman. Lowered a little bit from 70 something. I think now it's like 69, 64%, somewhere in there. Still highest of the people groups out here. Y'all take it for what it is anyway. And this is not laughing at the pain of the black woman. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about laughing at the irony of how easy it is for folks to fall into some things here that we all do. So, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, which we have read, right? And shall cleave to his wife. Very understandable. Again, your partner in this game, right? And the two of them should be one flesh. Very true. You're a team. You're on a team. That's the one flesh, the team. Team, whatever your last name is. Wherefore they're no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no person put asunder. Okay. They said unto him, why did Moses then give the commandment to give a writing of divorcement to put her away? And he said unto them. So you got to look through people. This is kind of like Jesus talking to that Samaritan woman, talking about she ain't had no husband. Sometimes you got to use that which has been given to you to look through a thing, right? That's verse 7. He said unto them, verse 8. This is the key to all of this, y'all. Why folks want war instead of peace. God made the thing for it to be in peace. Different people groups, for one blood was every person made that dwelleth on this planet. That's not talking about just at the Garden of Eden. That's not just talking about that. Every person, every people group, everywhere was down here, y'all. You're going to have to square away with that. It's why they can find skull bones of Negroes up north in the Northeast, going back 10,000 years. Never mind. They said unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? Verse 8, he said unto them, Moses, now saying Moses is just, as they wrote this, is reiterating this question. Moses gave a commandment to give a writing of divorcement and put that wife away because of the hardness of your hearts. And don't you know today we can't talk through things. My God. We can't talk through things with our families. We can't talk through things with our, Jesus. This is the part here, y'all. See, you got to be open before each other. You're not going to learn nothing. Of course, this man talking about Black History Month, you're not going to learn nothing. You shut your heart off to people. See, you won't know nothing about the homosexual or transgender because you shut your heart off to. You think you got the whole knowledge of how a boy and girl is supposed to work. You think you know it all. Now, shout out to that bishop, man. Shout out to that woman standing before Donald Trump saying what needed to be said. It's time we show peace to people. This ain't about for the luxury of staying under massa. This is about allowing people to live down here in peace and wholeness, y'all. That's another one of those things when you look up peace's etymology. Of course, a Latin word, right? But dealing in wholeness, tranquility, harmony. The word pax in Latin. Agreement. Can we make an agreement, y'all? You might not like their life. You might look at scriptures telling you how unholy they are, but we can live here in peace. And that's how you know when they don't want to let you live in peace. You're going to have to start learning how to defend yourself, not creating war. Listen to me good, family, not creating war. It's learning to defend yourself so that you can live in peace. There's a difference. Because of the hardness of people's hearts, suffered or allowed you. That was the energy by which that allowed you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, was not so. Now, if you think that part there that we have come up with from the beginning was not so, what else do you think, ladies and gentlemen, was not so that was from the beginning? Again, people were walking down here nude, y'all. There was no problem. The European had a problem, waving their Bible, again, as the term Bible thumper. It's time we put these things to an end, ladies and gentlemen, right? It's time we learn the balance of it. Of course, as always, there's a whole lot more notes that I could have went through. There's a lot more notes that I could have went through, but we're going to leave it alone, right? There is more to talk about. This idea, ladies and gentlemen, where there's not enough to talk about is silly. We'll get into, because we had talked about, maybe I haven't, but the idea of the Royal Rumble but talking about the Royal Rumble and all that kind of stuff. We'll get into that. Again, we'll talk about February. We got some stuff to talk about here at the beginning of February, right? So there's much there still to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, as we walk this road together. The word war, it's going to end on this, right? A state of armed conflict between nations or states or different groups of people. Now, when they say different groups of people, okay, within a nation or within a state. Is that what we want, y'all? Do you want that? I know what people are going to say, but your actions are saying more. Our actions are saying mixture or confusion. That's where the word war comes from. Talking about the etymology. So you can look online. To confuse or perplex. And don't you know? That's the problem. We got it mixed up, y'all. The mix up is that whether you like or dislike different groups of people down here, we can still find and should strive to find ways to live in peace down here. When you see war, there's a level of confusion. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for walking this road with me today. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.